Okay, we are live.
Yay.
Awesome. So, welcome everybody. My name is Melanie Childers, as you know, and this is my client, Kristen King, and she is amazing. And I wanted to bring you guys a client story so that you get a really good idea of what it's like to work together, what kind of results that you get as my client, whether it's one on one or in a group atmosphere, and to truly see, like, I feel like, Kristen, for you, you are such an example of what's possible when we change the way that we're thinking, even if it's just a little bit in the moment and like gradual shifts. But you made some pretty epic leaps pretty quickly, and I want us to talk about that too. So if you don't know, Kristen is one of my clients that I scream from the rooftops very often, and she's one of those people who like like I really want people to know how you did some of the things you did. So you consistently made 100 offers in 100 days, and then you made $32,000 in 15 days. And let's just dive right in. Tell us about you and who you are and what you do. And then how the hell did you do that?
Okay, we could definitely do that. So hi, I'm Kristen King. I live in Colorado. I live in Leadville, which is the highest city in America, and it's freezing here, so you might see me grab my blanket.
There may also be random cat butts. It's fine.
Yeah, there's my cats like running back and forth, like this is live TV, people. So I so I live in Colorado, and I work a full-time job in digital strategy in human services, and then I also have a coaching practice, which is, by the way, now fully booked.
Whoop, whoop.
I formally launched my coaching practice in April, which is the same month that we started working together. And in the 6 months that we've been working together, I've actually generated $52,000 in sales. And 32,000 of that happened in a like 2 week period last month, which is just like completely crazy to me. And it's
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah, it's so much fun. So where do we want to start?
Well, tell us a little bit about where you were in your business. So you had just like officially stepped in and said, I'm going to start telling people I'm a life coach.
Yeah.
So I really am curious, like what was happening in your brain? Why did you reach out to work together?
Sure. So I have been like coaching in some form for like 15 years, but it wasn't until 2020 that I actually was like, okay, I am a life coach. And one of the things that I had always told myself earlier in my life, and I was like, okay, when my life starts, I'm going to hire a coach. And then at some point, it occurred to me like my life is actually happening right now. So, like, let me just do that. Yeah. And so that was like brain shift one that sort of made it possible for me to reach out and work with a coach. And I had completed my coach certification program before we started working together. And I was just like accruing hours. And it was funny, I had been following you for like a while before that because my friend Emily from high school did one of your groups. And it was he was like the next level badassery
Mhm.
challenge. And I was like, oh my God, Emily, like you look so great and you're doing all these things. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, join this group with me. And so I did it. And I was like, this bitch, like this is who my coach is. And I don't think you even like knew I was there yet when I decided that. And so then I like followed you for a while. Like it was probably like almost a year, maybe even more.
That sounds
Then
right.
when I had the like brain shift, I was like, oh wait, life's happening now. That was when I reached out to you. And
Oh.
I had like a lot of like panic when I was like filling out the form because I was like, she's my coach, so I'm just gonna figure it out. There was a question on the form that was like, are you prepared to make this investment? And I was like, yes. And because I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. So yeah, so like I had previously run businesses. I had a six-figure communications consulting firm back in the day, and then one of my consulting clients turned into an employer, and I left that kind of on the side and started doing corporate work. And I've been doing that for it'll be 11 years this month actually. But there was like an itch that was not getting scratched. And so that was when I decided to like launch this coaching practice. And I've always known that, like you have to be a product of your products. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're not using the thing that you're offering and you don't have that connection to it and you don't have your own story and experience, you're not going to be very successful. So I knew that if I was going to be a successful coach, I was going to need a coach.
Mhm.
Just like when I was running my communications business, like I had mentors who were in that space. I knew that I needed that. I also knew that I was coming in with a lot of like really limiting beliefs, especially around like money and like what I'm capable of. And I had all these stories about things I can't do. And I knew that I needed to break out of that if this was going to take off. And so
Yeah.
that was why I reached
Well,
out.
and it's so interesting to me because I think this happens for a lot of successful women, especially like you'd already been really successful on your own.
Yeah, I like totally already built a six-figure business and like I have two master's degree, like I have a great career. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I had this like
Kind of,
concept
just a
that like,
little.
yeah, I mean just like a little bit, like I don't know, just like a couple of major university things that I do. But I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then I had these like two like kind of dueling brains when we first started. Because I remember in one of our first sessions, you asked me like, how confident are you in your ability to get clients? And I was like, I am 100% confident in my ability to get clients for this thing. I have no idea what the F I'm doing here. And it took me a really long time to realize they were actually the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, my
So
cat is
it,
like opening the curtains. I don't know what she's doing.
but it's so interesting how we can have success in one area and believe in ourselves in one area, even if it's just like a little bit. But then
Yeah.
when we like go to put ourselves in a different, like we go to take that big leap to the next big thing that would really make our heart sing and like fulfill like that vision and impact that we want to have in the world, that our brain offers all of these new beliefs that are like, nope, you can't do it, but you've never done it over here, but these people aren't going to come, but this is different, but you're a special snowflake and there's something wrong with you and it's
Yeah.
definitely never going to work for you. Right.
Yeah. Or
And
this time. That was a fluke that it worked that last time. It's like you
right.
never do it again. It's the only money you're ever going to make in your life.
Yeah. And it completely, it's like our brains completely discredit all the success that we've ever had. And it goes, yeah, but this is something different and new. And so it's not possible.
Hmm.
And so I think, if I remember right, when we first started working together, you had a lot of perfectionism showing up, a lot of pressure, a lot of, but I'm the special snowflake and I'm pretty sure this is going to be super hard for me. And so
Yeah.
like I want to reflect that for everybody else. Like I definitely had those thoughts when I first started my business. And even though I had had previous success, I have a master's degree too. I was kicking ass and taking names in my corporate job. And
Mhm.
as were you. And so talk a little bit about what what really were your stumbling blocks right at the beginning.
Whew, there were so many. They really all go back. Like you really hit the nail on the head, though. They really go back to that perfectionism. Like I had it that like everything had to be right or wrong, and like I had to be right all the time. And if I wasn't, then like somehow the entire world was like really dependent on me, like never screwing anything up ever. So, I was really defensive about stuff. I'm not sure I was super defensive with you. I mean, I was definitely really resistant, but like in the rest of my life, people would be like, like, can you pass the salt? And I'd be like, what? You don't like how I cook? Like it was like it was like ridiculous. And like I still, my joke is sort of like my husband and I almost got divorced over like the right way to fold towels.
Mhm.
But it's like not actually a joke. Like it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. It was like life and death. Like everything had to be perfect. There's like one right way to do things. And it was
Mhm.
okay for other people to make mistakes. Like I had deep empathy for other people's learning, but very little empathy for my own learning. And I was really hard on myself, even though I would not apply those things to other people most of the time. But if it was someone who was a lot like me and they were also struggling, I'd be really mad at them for struggling, just the way I was mad at myself for
Oh,
struggling. So it was like
yeah.
a really that like idea that there was safety in perfection and that anything other than perfection was really unsafe was
Yeah.
a huge roadblock for me.
Well, and I think it's so good to have awareness about that and to know like this is like the message that we get from outside. This is the message we get from the patriarchy that do it perfectly. So like don't be too fat, don't be too thin, don't be too smart, don't be dumb, don't be
Right.
too confident, don't be a doormat. Don't
Hmm.
be too ambitious. Like stay in this safe little box and stay perfect so that no one else like disengages all of the exterior judgment. But what we do then is like absorb all of that and use it to keep us, we use it against ourselves to keep us in this little box.
Yeah.
And then
Totally. Well, and
beat
I had
ourselves
this like
up.
very clear box of like how I was supposed to be in the world and like how I would be likable and how I'd be successful and like what people would think about me. And so it was really like looking back, like I was very like manipulative in terms of how I interacted with other people. I would like tell them the thing I thought they wanted to hear to make them feel some kind of way about me.
Yeah.
And it was like designed to make them like me, but like then it would make me not like them and like also not like myself. It was like, it did not work well at all.
Yeah. It's like
It
the
was like all
ultimate
about
people
that, like
pleasing.
that structure that like
Yeah.
other people sort of, I don't know. I think so. I don't know that anyone really put it on me actually. Like it was existing and then I sort of like adopted it and then like
Yeah.
really hard defended it. Like we definitely had a conversation one day where you were like, well, what if this? And I was like, no. And you were like, wow, you're fighting really hard for a life you say you don't want. What's up with that? It was true. I was like really fighting to like stay in this place that felt safe,
Mhm.
even though it was like I was like trapped and I like couldn't breathe, but like it was the only thing that felt safe. So I had to really like break out of that.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk a little bit about so what we call that in my coaching practice and in the Bad Bitch Mastermind that is launching soon is like basic bitch mentality. And it isn't meant to be like rude and we aren't meant to like hate her. It's really like this team of like inner mean girls whose job it is to keep you in the box, to keep you
Yeah.
safe, to keep you small, to keep you from going too big and doing too much and getting out of your comfort zone. So let's talk a little bit about how you shifted, because ultimately what we're doing here is identity shifting into we just want to be more of our badass self a little more often and practice being her more and more often so that we send lots of love. Our basic bitch self is always going to be there. That stuff is deep programmed in, but we're not trying to squash her or get rid of her or tell her to fuck off. We want to, we're sending her a lot of love and we're becoming this new version of us. So tell us a little bit about how you show up like that badass version of you now and what the shifts have been for you.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that that I did in the beginning and that I actually still do to like keep showing up this way is I made this like list of things that are true about me when I'm living like my badassiest version of myself. And I actually labeled my list, who the fuck I think I am. And so that's
Yes.
what it says across the top, who the fuck I think I am. And then my list is like all, you know, all of these ways that I show up. And like the number one item is like badass boss bitch who lives unapologetically and authentically and takes a stand for other people to do the same thing. And
Mhm.
then I like have, you know, this list of all of these different ways that I do that. And it's like, I speak the truth and I don't pretend and I'm fucking hilarious. And like, all, you know, just all of the ways that I show up. I'm really smart and I'm not sorry. And I am totally okay with you being who you are, but I will also speak truth to bullshit and just really getting clear on like how I want to be in the world. And the first time I wrote that list, I was like, the audacity, like how dare I write this? And then I added audacious and daring to the list. Like, and so like just that exercise of deciding like who I wanted to be in the world was huge because it was kind of like writing my own permission slip to do that. And then all of a sudden I got super scared and I got tinier for a little while because I was like, that's too big. I can't do it. So that was sort of like interesting. But my
Understood.
brain kept going back to it. Like you remember that it was a rough couple of weeks there. But like my brain kept going back to it. And I was like, well, let me just try it on. Let me just try it on. And one of the things that I really enjoyed that we did is, you know, you would ask me questions like, okay, well, if you were the badass boss bitch, what would you do? And I was just like, boom, I would do this. And I remembered that. So I have twins who are almost 9. And in the early days, I was like, I'm never going to have my shit together. What am I doing? I've got these babies. And I would ask myself, what would someone who had her shit together do right now? And then I would do that thing. And you kind of reminded me of that trick. And so I started asking myself day to day, like, okay, stop spinning. What's going on here? If you were a total badass boss bitch who was living unapologetically and authentically and with total audacity, what would you do right now? And then I would do that thing. And it is just taking practice. And there are some days that I need to like really reboot. But when I feel the need to reboot, I will like sit down and write who the fuck I think I am all over again and
Mhm.
go back and read that list. And it really has made a difference. And
Yeah.
so it's showing up with me like making offers to people. I made 100 offers in 100 days. And I just decided that I was going to do that. And then I did it for 100 days in a row. I like to do things that have numbers attached to them. Like it's really satisfying to me to like check the boxes, but I just decided I was going to do it. And on days where I was like, I don't feel like doing it, I was like, too bad. You already decided, and badass boss bitches follow through with their decisions.
Yeah. Well, and I love that there's I know too that there's an element here of the days that you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yes, you say, well, that's too bad. This is what we decided. But there's also an element of compassion here. That's like, of course you don't want to. You have a human brain. But also, this is what badass boss bitches do. They follow through.
They show up. And one of the things that really helped with that too, because I realized in the past, the times that I've been like extra resistant to something I wanted to do, I had it that the thing was really big. And that was why even like small failures felt like the world was going to come crashing down.
Mhm.
And over the 6 months that we've been working together, like one of my big challenges has been to get perspective on that, right? And so on say like, day 52, if I was like, I don't want to post this thing that all of my offers were on social media. I don't want to hit send on this post and have it go up because it's not very good. I was like, okay, well, there's 51 other days before it that were fine. And there's going to be like 47 more. So like, it's okay if this isn't an A plus, it can be a B minus, it can be a C, like, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to show up every day. And all that matters is that I show up. And it took like doing more made it feel less scary because it just became part of who I am. So,
Mhm.
just and that applied to like every area of my life, like speaking truth all the time instead of just sometimes makes speaking
Yeah.
truth a lot easier.
Yeah, because it takes the pressure and the perfectionism off of it. It's like, okay, if I know that this is just who I am all the time and this is just what I do now, is I tell people about my services. I tell people something, even if it's just a tiny thing that I think that they will need to know today. Like sometimes my posts are just like, hey, don't forget to breathe.
Yeah.
Because I ask myself, I'm like, oh shit, what do I need right now? Oh, I need to breathe. I bet there's 100 people out there who need to hear the reminder to breathe. Right.
Yeah.
But it comes from the thought, like, I want to help people. What do they need to know? And who am I in doing this? I'm someone who shows up and I'm consistent and I choose to be and I want to be. Okay, how can I make this easy for myself? And for you, that shift was, well, I've done it 51 days. I'm going to
Mhm.
do it 47 more days. This doesn't have to be perfect because I'm just going to do it again tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah, totally. And then it just became like an, oh yeah, instead of a like, oh God, it's like if it's like
Yeah.
the only Facebook post you're ever gonna write in your entire life, it better be good, right? But if it's like, oh, that's just the thing I do. Like,
Yeah.
there'll be some days that I have a lot to say and it'll be like, 100 words, 300 words, whatever. And then there's other days that's like, "Psst, in case nobody told you, your brain's a liar. Love you." Like,
Yes. Well, and
and
I
it's
think it's so important for, people who are in business, who we do our own marketing, who are, being creative in the world. And, if you're writing a book or creating a course or a workshop, right? Like that's all creative, intellectual property stuff. And we think I'm going to hold on to the best. I don't want to let it go. I don't want to let it out there. And
Mhm.
I don't want to write too much because this one idea is the one, it's the good one. And the truth is, the more that we do it and the more that we create, the more quantity there is, the more quality is possible. So like think about like Beethoven, he wrote some 300, I don't know what songs, arias.
Symphonies, I have no idea.
Oh,
He wrote a
symphony,
lot.
that's the word. Yes.
Wrote a lot of shit.
He wrote a lot of music. We'll just go music. Yes. He wrote a lot of music, but only like maybe 10 or 12 of them are the things people know and love and remember.
Right.
But he had to be very prolific for the masterpieces to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good because once we do that, we get to take the pressure off and we get to have the fun and bring the fun back in, and that allows the creativity and the energy and the motivation to flow. That's like, I'm committed and I'm going to make it fun for myself and I'm going to take all the pressure off. It's like your brain goes, what? It's like we're surfing this fucking wave of motivation. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that, like, you just said something that was really important. That, like, being committed piece was huge for me. Like, I used to live very attached to everything. So like if I wrote a post and like a specific thing didn't happen as a direct result of that post, I was a failure. If I like made an offer, if I submitted a proposal at work, like whatever it was, I was super attached to the outcome. And I was basing my emotions, my reactions, my self-concept on everything that was like happening out there. And one of the things that has been, I guess, one of my great opportunities of the last 6 months, especially, has been really shifting from attachment to commitment,
Yeah.
because who I am is who I decide to be, and how I show up is how I show up, and what I decide to do when I show up. And I get to make that decision and that choice independent of what people do with it. And my
Yeah.
obligation is not to make someone else do something. It's just to show up in the way that I'm committed to. And so letting go of that attachment has been huge. And that has been
Yeah.
like a big shift in the whole like perfectionism mindset and the like I can't mindset, because I
Yeah.
can when I'm not attached to what other people do with it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so good to know, just for everyone else out there who doesn't know what that means, attachment versus commitment. The way that
Mm,
I think about attachment, and we're talking about like setting goals, right? And for you, it was like attachment to this 100 consults in 100 days, this 100 offers in 100 days.
mhm,
We can't know how many people are going to come, but if we're attached to 100, then everything we do that doesn't work feels like failure. Versus if I'm committed to it, it doesn't matter truly what the outcome is, only that I committed to like the bigger vision of I'm going to help 100 people, no matter what it looks like.
yeah.
And so I think attachment is really about us. And it becomes this sort of like needy, grabby thing that's like, I need the result that I'm expecting to happen from this one post or this one book or this one podcast interview or this one thing to be what I'm expecting it to be. I'm attached to that result and it becomes this sort of pressure fueled like white knuckling. I need this to happen, but it's about us versus when we're committed. It's like, wait, I'm committed to my vision. I'm committed to the thousands of women that I want to help. I'm committed to the thousands of feminists I want to help change the world and make the impact they want to make. When we
Mhm.
have our commitment brains and our brains on the commitment to the vision, how it happens is irrelevant. So we can let go of that neediness and that ego and that attachment to the result and continue on and motivate and inspire ourselves because we're so committed to the bigger thing and to them. So it's like we
Mm,
take our eyes off of us and put our eyes back on them.
yeah. Well, and for me with the 100 days thing, I mean, I was committed that I am going to show up for 100 days, and I was not attached to what other people were going to do in response to me showing up. And so I posted 100 offers, 100 days in a row. It was July 17th to October 25th. I have a weird memory for dates. Um, and in that time, I booked 39 consults.
Yeah. So
And
tell us how you made
which
32K in
which
15
was
days.
huge. Which was huge. And not all of those consults resulted in me making an offer for coaching, but they were great conversations, right? It was fun. So I could look at that and I could say, oh, well, I was trying to serve 100 people in 100 days by making 100 offers, and I only did 39 consults. Okay, well, first of all, if I hadn't been doing this, there's no way I would have done 39 consults in that number of days, because I just wouldn't have been in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also all of the people who saw the posts, all of the people who read the comments on the post, even if they didn't give a reaction or give a comment, all the people that saw the post when they shared the post. So, like, I definitely supported way more than 100 people. And I'm not ever going to know who some of those people even are. But my success for that wasn't determined on how many consults are booked or how many programs I sold. It was about whether I did what I said I was going to do,
Yeah.
and that was it. And so it made it a lot easier for me to have this be wildly successful, because there wasn't just one way for me to succeed. All I had to do was show up. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be responsible for anything else. And it took all of the pressure off for it to be just this super fun thing. And it was
Yeah.
really cool.
And then you made 32K in 15 days.
And then I made 32K in 15 days. I had, I think, was it 6 consults in a row that were all yeses. And then another client renewed, and it was all like right there.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Well, and I think the thing that it sounds like you're saying is that what worked for you was deciding who you want to be and deciding to be committed. So like you set a goal and you decided to commit to it no matter what, without pressure, but making
Mhm.
it fun. And you just showed up every day.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah,
that
and in the
simple.
past, I would, like, redecide every day, like, "So, who am I gonna be today?" And it was based on what I thought the people around me wanted. And
Yeah.
what I've been doing that's been way less work and way more fun, is that I just already decided who I am, and so I don't have to make any more decisions about that. I just show
Hmm.
up, and I just do the things that the person who I decided to be would do. And some days it feels a little bit like I'm like, I don't know, wearing like a Kristen suit or something. But some days I'm like more aware of it, but it's getting like more like invisible to me, I
Hmm.
guess, because I'm practiced in living in that decision and having it be the right decision. And it's like suddenly no problem, which is really
Yeah.
weird for me because I've never lived before like no problem. In the past, like everything's been a problem and I had to fix all of it. And I was like super attached to that. And now it's like, oh, okay, like I don't actually have to be responsible for that. No problem.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
freeing.
So I'm curious about, because I know you have a full-time job, you have twins, you have a full coaching business. How do you, because one of the things that we work on together and one of the things we work on in the mastermind is calendaring, planning your time, setting goals, and creating a plan to get there and believing you can get there to begin with.
Mhm.
And really changing like your relationship with time and with success and with money so that you can have more of it. So, what did you do that helped shift all of those things and make all of this possible and no problem
So the biggest
versus
thing for
lots
me,
of drama, right?
yeah, like drama, like, oh my God, I have so much drama about time. And like I'm a planner addict, like my entire office like full of planners. Because I I know, right? Just reason we love each other. Um,
Funny.
so there's like three on my desk literally right now, but they're not the drama planners, they're like the useful thing. So, I used to feel like there was this like sort of like one right way to do it. And as soon as I found like the time wizard and was like deputized by the time wizard, that I would like suddenly all I don't know, it was like something Harry Potter where you like turn the thing and you have extra hours. I don't know, it was like magic. And so I didn't understand how other people were doing this like alchemy with time because I had it that like time, there was never enough. Um, Sorry, my brain just went to that scene in Saved by the Bell where Zach comes in and he wakes up Jesse and she's on the bed because she just came down off of her caffeine pills. And he's like, Jesse, what's wrong? And she's like, there's no time. There's never any time. I don't have time to study. I'm not going to get into Stanford. I'm so excited. Okay. So anyway, that's just where my
Yes.
brain went. Sometimes this happens. But I was like living like Jesse Spano. I was like freaked out that there was no time and I was going to let
Mhm.
everybody down all the time. And it was horrible and it felt awful and I was like constantly behind. And I realized like this isn't sustainable. This is how people get totally burned out and have like heart attacks at 40.
Uh-huh.
And also like this sucks. So I don't want to do this anymore. And I have things in my life that are important to me. It's important to me to be a great mom. It's important to me to have a great relationship with my husband. I love my corporate job and that's important to me. And I love coaching, like who I am in the world as a coach. And if I want to be able to take care of those four things and also still do fun stuff for me, like hop on my bike or go do Zumba or whatever, I can't live in there's no time, there's never any time. I can't do that. So, what do I need to believe for time to work better for me? And what I needed to believe was I have time for everything that's important to me.
Yeah.
I get to decide how long things take and how much time I give to them. And I will have everything I need at exactly the time that I need it.
Yeah. And I think
And that was the shift.
I was working specifically on that thought, like I always get what I need exactly when I need it,
Yeah.
really helped your brain like sort of chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. Once that thought like occurred to me, I immediately found a ton of evidence for it.
Mhm.
But since the thought had not occurred to me, I was only finding evidence for there's the no time thought. Like there's no time
Yeah.
for anything. So I'd find that. But yeah, like once I even just asked the question, what if there is actually time for everything I want? It was like suddenly I had the little like Harry Potter time turner
Mhm.
and everything was fine. Like
Yeah.
it was really remarkable.
Yeah. Well, and I think a piece of that too is sort of like unattaching from the I have to beliefs
Hmm.
and choosing, I'm okay, what am I committed to? What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Versus looking at your calendar as like a burden and looking at it as like, oh no, this is my plan to get to where I want to go.
Yeah. Well, and I
Um,
used to put a lot of stuff in my calendar that was like stuff other people wanted me to do that I was like saying yes to out of obligation. And the thought there's time for everything I want to do was huge because then I could prioritize differently too. And I wasn't busy running everyone else's plan and other people's priorities. I was putting my stuff in first and then saying no thank you
mhm.
when stuff came along that did not support and that didn't fit and that didn't have some kind of reason for me to do it. I was just like, no, thank you. I'm not available for that. And I didn't have any more drama about it because like, oh, my plan is the things that matter to me and my priorities and who I am in the world. They can be responsible for their plan. And so it took away a lot of that outside stress that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
Talk a little bit about how you changed your relationship with money. Because when we first started working together, there's a
Mhm.
lot of drama about money's not for me. I can't make money. I can't charge more than what I'm charging. I can't make a whole lot of money. I better set small goals. If I have too much money, I'm a bad person. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how we shifted that for you, because that is truly like changing that relationship is how you create so much more of whatever it is you want, whether it's time or money or success. But let's talk specifically about your money relationship.
Whew, yeah, there's been a lot. There's a lot with me for money. And so much. And that was like one of our first like direct conversations. Like one of the first things I brought up was like money and debt and how it scares me. And so, it goes back really far. But what I realized is that I was living in a place where money really was scary and it was supercharged. It was very emotionally charged. So I was like freaked out about student loans. I was freaked out about having a mortgage. I was freaked out about like paying for coaching. I mean, I was freaked out about everything, anything related to money. Um, and the idea, like you said, like if I had too much, if I had any, it would get taken away. It was like so scary. And so I just like walked around like this with money all the time. And with money, if your, fist is clenched, like nothing goes away, but nothing comes in either.
Mhm.
And so I was really living in the story like money is for other people, money is not for me. And I was making it be true because if I had the opportunity to make money, I would underprice my services. If I had the opportunity to earn money, I'd come up with reasons, usually related to time, why I couldn't do that. If I had the opportunity to ask for money, I would talk myself out of it. I mean, it was like a mess. And so, what I really had to do was separate money from any attachment, which was hard. And I still have to constantly like remind myself of it. But like, money is totally a neutral thing. And that's why some people have lots of it and some people don't have much of it and some people have lots and not much all different times. Like it's not like there's just like one way money can be. Money just kind of flows in and out and I decide what that relationship looks like. And once I made that shift and I started to see money as a tool rather than as like a measure of how valuable I am in the world, and when I started to see it as something that could work for me rather than something that only ever worked against me, suddenly it got a lot less scary. And suddenly I started making a lot more money
Mhm.
because I really had it that money is for other people. And when I
Yeah.
was like, well, what if it could be for me? What if money is for anybody who wants money? And what if it doesn't matter how much money you have? Then it was
Yeah.
like everything shifted.
Yeah. So here's a question that I didn't add in the email that I sent you with all the questions, but that
Okay.
just occurred to me because I think it's so powerful for people to know and understand. So one of the things that I teach people is like how to get your return on investment, how to get your
Yeah.
ROI, whether it's group coaching, one-on-one coaching, whatever,
Mhm.
because anybody who comes to me, we shift these little things and they make more money, even if they don't have a business, right? They end up asking for more money or going out for another job, asking for a promotion, applying for other things, right? So, one of the things that I like to think about is how do we guarantee that we're going to get back what we put in? And I'm curious what the answer is for you. I have my own answer, but I want to know what yours is.
That's such a good question because like when I look at the investment in my coaching with you, Like it felt really big for me, and it was big, like it was really important, but it felt like a lot of money. But even if it had been like $10, it would have felt like a lot of money, right? So I said to myself while I was doing this, like I'm gonna make this investment and I'm really serious about it. And I am gonna earn this back before, like we do 6 months at a time. We're in our second 6 months. So I was like, I am gonna earn back my investment before the end of this 6 months. And I just decided, and I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I was like, I am not going to let this be a waste. It is going to be an investment and it is going to get a return. And I made the decision that I was going to be your best client, that I was going to be my best CEO for my business, and that I was just going to show up that way. And when I made the decision that that's how I was going to show up and that it was not negotiable for me to make the money back or not within that time frame, then all of the ways to do it appeared. Because just the way my brain shifted to, I have time for everything I want, and then I found the ways that it was true. When I made the decision, I'm going to make back this investment and it's going to be the best investment. That was another thought. It's going to be the best investment I've ever made in myself. My brain found all the ways for it to be true.
Yeah.
And I struggled with it a little bit in the beginning. And I'm sure that you felt that, because it was sort of like the first 6 weeks, you were like, if you need anything in between sessions, like you should text me, like use the Facebook group, like do this, do that. And I was like, no. And then I was like, wait a minute. I decided that I'm going to be her best client and I'm going to make this work. And I guarantee her best clients are not sitting in the spin cycle when their brains go crazy for like 6 days because it happened the day after the session. They're not doing that.
No,
And
they definitely
so
reach out.
they reach out.
Go
So I was
ahead.
like, I'm going to do that. And it would be funny. Like I'd come to coaching and I'd be like, well, here's what I want to coach on. And here's what I came up with and blah, 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 blah. And I think I should just do that. And you're like, okay, so what are we going to coach on? Because you already answered that. Like, so like my brain just went into not even problem solving mode, just doing mode. And
Yeah.
that was what did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
Did that
it
answer
was
your question?
yeah, but it was true.
Okay.
Because
I got all
I think,
excited.
well, what I think about, like when I'm thinking about investing in myself, when I'm thinking about investing in my vision, whether my vision is I want to create a patriarchy smashing book that is going to
Mhm.
change the world for women and little girls everywhere, or if I want to create a course, or if I want to create a song, or if I want to create a business, or if I want to create a fucking empire. So that's my vision. It's like I have an empire to build so that I can give a fuck ton of money to change politics. That's it. I
Yeah.
love y'all. I'm here to help y'all. But that's like the like come to Jesus vision.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
when I think about, okay, no matter how much, whatever it is costs. So like the Bad Bitch Mastermind, it's going to cost $5,000. If I'm coming into it as a client, I want to come into it as if, okay, how do I make this the best investment in myself? I'm going to show up like the best student. I'm going to show up like the boss, the CEO of me. I'm going to show up like the CEO of my vision. Okay, if that CEO makes investments, how do we go make it back? Without
Mhm.
hustling, without pressuring, without pushing ourselves, we just make it, decide that it's a non-negotiable, decide we're going to be the best student, decide we're going to come and get everything that we came for. And then all the answers appear. It's like, okay, well, if that's who I am in this mastermind, if that's who I am in this container or as a client, then what are the actions that I would want to do that would feel really good and really fun and really possible, even if I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to make it happen.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. That is how you get your return on investment, my friends.
Yeah.
You show
That's
up
exactly it.
expecting it to happen and trusting yourself and deciding to be the CEO and the best client.
Yeah. And like the truth is that decision, like I 10x'd my investment in coaching.
Yeah, you did.
I did. And
Literally.
like it
Like
was a lot. And it
not
was
just a joke. Literally, you
like
10x.
I literally did. It was great.
It's not a
And we're
metaphor.
already on track to do that and then some for the next 6 months. Like this would have been worth every penny if it had been like 25 grand. Like it still would have been worth it. And it still would have, like I'd pay that again. I'd pay that right now. Don't, sorry guys, maybe it'll be 25 this time, but but like seriously, like it was so good. Like there's like no dollar amount that you could put on it that it wouldn't have been worth that, because I decided that it was going to be the most valuable thing I've ever done for myself.
Yeah.
And I decided that that's what coaching is for me. And once I made that decision, I started attracting clients who also had that viewpoint about coaching. And I knew like logically that like how I show up in the world attracts how the world shows up for me, right? Like I got that.
Yeah.
But then I literally saw it happening. People would come to me and say things to me that I had said to you, but not said to anyone else in the world. And I'm like, holy shit. Like it's really amazing. Like it
Yeah.
really is amazing. And it all came from the decision that this is non-negotiable and this is going to be the best investment ever. And this
Mhm.
is how I'm going to show up for it.
Yeah. And deciding who you are in the world. Like that happens for me too. Every time I up level who I think I am in the world and what I think is possible for me and what I think the world could think about me, like those people start to show up and my brain has to go, oh shit, I got to catch up. Hold on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so
But
true.
then you just do, you decide to.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Well, and it's funny, like I wrote that whole list of like who the fuck I think I am and then started showing up that way. And then out of the blue, people would start saying things to me like, I just love how audacious you are. I just love how unapologetic you are. Like, whatever it was almost like I was like, woo, like
Yeah. It's like
it really is remarkable.
you got in alignment with your bad bitch self and
Yeah.
started showing up like her and it started being reflected to you.
Yeah, it really did. And
Yeah.
it was reflected when I was basic bitch too.
Yeah.
But in ways that I didn't enjoy so much. I like these reflections a lot better and
Yes.
it's a lot more fun this way.
Yeah. It's a lot more sustainable too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. It has been such an absolute pleasure.
You're so welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. And if you are watching and you are fascinated and you are like, fuck yes, you need to get on joining the Bad Bitch Mastermind. You can find details at melaниechilders.com/mastermind. We will open the doors very soon. There is an early access list. That list gets first dibs to the application. You want to be on that fucking list. The shit is going to sell out and it's going to sell out fast. And we're going to have such a fucking blast blowing your mind and helping you become that bad bitch who does exactly what she says she's going to do and who is blowing up empires and changing the fucking world. Thanks for being here. Bye.